Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to the Bot Signal today. My name is RJ Redden. Entrepreneurs hire me to skyrocket their marketing message because most are shouting into a black hole, or they're having a heck of a time getting any traction online, and most people sound like a carbon copy of everybody else. So, I create epic engagement experiences that get people to click that button, connect with you, and convert like crazy. Bottom line, I am on a mission to get 1 million people to change their marketing. And today we're going to start with you. So, my friends and my darlings, yesterday we had a whole show about it was a lot about engagement, how engagement is different than counting clicks, how, basically kind of introducing the topic. Engagement marketing, that's what I do. That's the problem that I solve is engagement. I don't solve reach problems. I solve engagement problems. Once you've got those people, is nurturing them through email really effective? No, it's just not. And you know it, and I know it, and that's probably why you're here. So let's discuss today. And if you missed yesterday's show and you're just tuning in, go ahead and circle back. Circle back to yesterday's when you're done with this one, because I think that the topics that we talked about might make a little more sense if you do that. So here it is. Today's show, troubleshooting that engagement. Where are people falling off? Where are they becoming disinterested? Where are they getting turned off by your marketing? This is huge. This is huge. Listen, try this. If you don't believe me, that's okay. Try this experiment. Talk to 5 people that you know. Ask them the question about missing. We alienate without thinking about it because we're copying off of everybody else's methods. That is, of course, a shame. Let me turn those overlays off. They seem to stack up on each other. Very strange. I'll check that out later. Anyway, so when and I ask people a lot. And honestly, people tell me a lot. People just kind of, come up with that and tell me a lot, which is great, because I want to know. I want to know what's out there. I want to know what's alienating people so that I can build something different, so that I can build something that's engaging. So, how do we know? How do we know where people are falling off and when? Okay. Now, the only way to really do that is to of course measure your engagement. Where are you getting your engagement from? If you're offering in chatbots, it's really easy, by the way. Of course it is, darling. But if you're not using chatbots and you're wondering about your engagement, how do you measure it? It has to be tracked somewhere. Now, does it have to be a huge spreadsheet? You know what? I see a spreadsheet. I run. I don't like those. My wife loves them. She pivot tables things that I did not think were possible. She loves a good spreadsheet. She loves a good mystery, and she can be gone for a day figuring that stuff out. I'm the opposite. If it's hidden in it, you could hide a dead body in a spreadsheet, and I would not find it. So, some people like spreadsheets. If you love that stuff, track your engagement in a spreadsheet. Totally fine. When you start tracking where people are going, start marking it down. It's simple stuff. In a bot, we just track where you are in the bot. It's not, it's nothing for us to track. Okay, did this person finish the video? Did this person start the video? Did this person start the day? Did this person finish the exercises? Did this person finish the day? We've got tracking mechanisms for all of those things so that we can see at any point along that line where people are dropping off. There's drop off on everything. But in bots, it's a lot less. Why? Engaging, gamifying, personalized. That's all it is. That's all it is. People feel more engaged in a conversation. People feel more engaged if there's a game and they're getting little rewards for being there and having little celebrations. All this stuff is very important. But it's super easy for us to track in a bot because I can track every single thing. And then I can look and say, okay, is this a gradual drop off that's kind of expected? Or is there a lurch somewhere in that line? Because if there is, then I can go back. I can look at that. I can run it by a few people because it's not always sufficient for me to just look at something and know what's happening or decide, what to do about it necessarily. Because if me and my team have written it, I tend to think it's awesome. So I do try to run it by other people just to get a little bit more objective opinion, if you know what I mean. But if you're using any type of software, if you have a freebie out there, let's start there. If you have a freebie out there, what are you expecting them to get from the freebie? What do you want to happen next? Is that happening? You can just ask yourself those 3 questions about every freebie you have. Most people want people to get some value out of that freebie and quick value. Listen to me. If your freebie is like a term paper, that's really hard. That's hard. Unless your crowd are readers. If your crowd are people who love to read, term paper type stuff, go for it. Most consumers out there nowadays, they don't read as much as they used to. It's a Wall Street Journal versus USA Today crowd, right? The front of the Wall Street Journal, most of the time, just words, maybe a picture in there once in a while. USA Today, all pictures, little captions. So it's the difference. That's our reading style on the internet has very, very much changed. The internet is a distracting place. We all know that. And when people are reading your stuff, they're also reading other things. And, maybe they have a multiple screen setup like I do, and it's easy to get distracted. So clear, concise communication. Clear, concise communication. Now, here's a point that I really always trip up on. Always, darling, always. Clear before clever. I want to be clever. I want to name it, I want to have alliteration, which is every word starting with the same letter. I want to have, bells and whistles galore. Don't clutter it up, my friends. Don't clutter it up. Because here's a question to ask in your freebie. Could a person scan it and get a sense of the value? Can they? And again, it depends on your crowd. If you've got, PhDs in your crowd that love to read a nice white paper, continue serving it to them. Please do so. For me, that's not usually the case. But for me, I like to write freebies that people can scan, get some ideas, get some value very quickly. Because here's the thing, 90% of the time, people are going to open that freebie, they're going to scan it, and they're going to decide right there if they want to continue. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Most of the time, they won't reopen it later because they figure if they start participating in your stuff, those points are going to be reiterated anyway. Why go into huge amounts of depth? So that's kind of a little look at freebies. We want to have those freebies. We absolutely do. If your wish is to maybe go on and do Facebook ads in the future, you absolutely want to have freebies or really any kind of ads, I think. But definitely on the Facebook side, that's what my friend Tammy Lane recommends. So you want to have the freebie, but you also want to know if that's engaging your people. Now, here's a way to know. Here's a couple of ways to kind of figure out where and troubleshoot where the fall off is occurring. Here's the old method, right? And this method still works. And it kind of will have to work over video conferencing at this moment. But take somebody out. Take somebody out and ask them questions. Grab a cup of coffee for them. Ask them some questions about their journey through your stuff. Figure out where they may have fallen off. You know, if it's a fellow business owner, they're more likely to respond with that a yes to your invitation. Because honestly, we all want to know that stuff. We all want to know what our client journey is. It is harder to figure out what that client journey is about without a bot. It really is, because, you know, I mean, there's no way to track anything but clicks. You don't really get verbal or text responses to anything. So basically all you can do is track the journey. For me, I love doing this in a bot because I can tell where they've been. I can also see immediately if they've asked questions, what kind of questions they've asked. Are they relevant to my business? Are they really not for me, but probably for somebody else that I know? Those are all of the questions. Those are all of the things that I'm able to keep track of. But you can do this yourself. It's harder. You can do it without a bot. I don't recommend it very much. Obviously, I'm going to recommend a bot, but this can be done. This can be done. And it's so valuable to be able to troubleshoot your client journey. And if you think about, for me, I'm thinking about client journeys. I'm not thinking about funnels anymore. Funnels is old. Funnels is just I will say this. Funnels are fine. Funnel mentality is old. Rushing everybody through the same gate at the end is old. You know what? I participated in a challenge, and this was a while ago with Jane M. Powers. You have to add the M in there. Anyway, we did her challenge through her bot, and she indeed made a lot of cash on that thing. And what I noticed when we were monitoring her bot was that not everybody went through the same gate at the end. Not everybody bought the class at the end. Some people went into a high-end program. Some people went into, more of a day 10 intense experience. People opt for different things. They do. And we've got to be ready for those choices. We just do. Let me catch up on the comments here. Got a lot from Teresa today. Let's see. I hate numbers and tracking, taking live class and listening. Oh, thank you so much. My bot felt like it only allowed consumption. And that's a tricky thing. That's a tricky thing. For me, I want to engage. I want to talk to the people that have the problem that I'm talking about. And I want to get them to answer some questions. Some open-ended questions, some closed-ended questions. You know the deal, Teresa. If you don't know Teresa, she's a teacher. She's an educator. Open-ended and closed-ended questions and a back-and-forth conversation. A lot of bots out there just do the consumption route, which is, you just basically kind of lecture people. Don't lecture people. If you've got a bot, this is an opportunity to find out a whole lot and to really customize a great journey for them. On that journey, on that client journey, I can customize just about anything. I can customize your experience. I can shortcut a huge path in the bot that I know you don't care about and don't want to go down anyway. I can help you. I can help you along that path, and I can measure it. Troubleshooting normal things can be done. Again, it can be done. It's a numbers and tracking thing. Not my thing. Okay, everybody. I want to go paint a painting. I don't want to go and look at a spreadsheet ever. But it absolutely can be done. You just want to know what people are feeling. So again, with looking at your client journey, if you can tell whether falling off through a spreadsheet, through numbers and tracking, totally fine. Tweak that, fix that, make it a different journey. Ask someone else to go through the journey for the first time, maybe a friend of yours, probably a fellow business owner, because we're all sort of marketing minded. Entrepreneurs generally are. Ask someone to go through it and get their reaction, or take somebody out for a cup of coffee, offer lunch, something, and get their opinion. Do an interview with them. Get their opinion on, okay, would this turn you off? You don't have to do that with every client you have, or every former client, or every person that's ever signed up for your stuff. Boy, that would be time consuming. No, you absolutely don't have to do that. You only have to do it 3 or 4 times before you start recognizing where people are alienated, where people are falling off, where people become disinterested. You want to reach back and grab those people with your marketing. If you don't, you'll not make the engagement, you'll not make the connection that you need for your business to thrive. And businesses are thriving right now. I'm totally getting off on a rant. Hope y'all don't mind. The businesses are thriving right now. Things are starting to pick up outside. Whether you do or do not go outside very much, that's up to you. I'm a stay-at-homer. But businesses online, everything's starting to pick up. And so businesses are thriving. You can thrive too. But this engagement is something that we have to master. We can't skip over that. We can't just say, we can't just focus on more people on a list, more people on a list, more people on a list, so that we can email them and market to them. People don't want to be marketed to. Let's just deal with that statement. They don't want to be marketed to. They don't want to be sold to. They're sick and tired and annoyed. How do we help them? How do we reach through that wall of sickness, tiredness, and annoyance and bring them something valuable, and bring them something that makes them not only want to look, read, and click, but invest a little part of themselves? When I ask people a question, they have to invest a little bit of themselves to give me an answer. They have to think a minute. They have to type in. Most of the time, it's a mobile keyboard. They have to do that. You don't want to do it so much that they're like, why are you asking me 10 questions before I even know who you are? You don't want to do that. You want to spread it out a little bit, but you do want a chance to ask those questions. So the other thing that I have done in the past, before the bot, to figure out where my engagement was falling off, of course, there's, taking somebody out to lunch and asking them. It'd have to be a Zoom lunch at this point, but you can certainly do that. But another way to kind of get feedback on your stuff, if you would like, if this is something that interests you, is there's a place called usertesting.com. And that is where you can get objective people to talk about what they're thinking when they're viewing your stuff and going through your stuff. You can get an objective view or opinion on if stuff's easy to find, if something is valuable to them. You can even state what kind of people you would like to have testing your stuff. It's basically demographics, males over the age 25, blah, 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 blah. You can totally do that. That's something that I used a lot when I was testing software, because it's so hard to tell what people are thinking if they're going through a traditional marketing funnel. So, my friends, I hope you got something out of that. Troubleshooting your engagement it can be tough. It can be tough to hear that your baby's ugly. I know. I've heard this before. But it takes an It takes an awesome entrepreneur. It takes somebody who's willing to do things a little bit differently to go, okay, hey, I get it. Why is the baby ugly? And get some feedback. Feedback is really, really important for what we do. I get feedback in my bots. I ask for it regularly. This is how I know how people are feeling. It's easy for me to do in a bot. Now, some people do have it like set up in their email process or whatever to ask people for feedback. But the problem is most people won't reply to an email. They just won't, because we're not used to replying to emails. You know, it's not your email they're not replying to. It's the 1,000 others that are crushing into their inbox and begging for their attention. That's what's happening. People will read that real quick and then they'll go, okay, I really want to answer her, but I've got these things to look at, blah, 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 blah. And then they're lost. Then they're in a mire of other things to do. So in a bot, again, it's really easy. It's really easy to measure that engagement and to see where people dropping off and to go, okay, is the wording bad there? Is that, should we maybe ask a question or get some interaction in there that will get them more invested? We can look at all kinds of things because I can tell exactly how people went through. I can also read all of their answers to the questions and tell how they're feeling. So my biggest suggestion is, of course, just do the bot stuff. Do the bot, because then you'll be able to troubleshoot your engagement really easily. If you don't have one, though, it's totally still possible. Take people out, usertesting.com, get some objective opinions, be willing to hear that your baby might be a tiny bit ugly, okay? And get to the bottom of that. If you can get engagement, you can get connection. If you can get connection, brand new connection, if you can have a stream of that coming in, your business will not only survive, it will thrive. So that's it for today, my friends. I think you're the best, and I am so glad to have you come to the show. I will be having a show tomorrow, 10 o'clock every day. Weekday, that is. Central time, same bot channel. And that's it for now. I'll see you in a bot.